You're listening to Fun with Horror with your hosts, Scotty and Andrew.
Oh, that was a good countdown.
Thank you.
Hi, Andrew.
Hi, Scotty. How are you?
Episode 3.
Episode 3. We're already on episode 3, man. This is nuts.
And I'm doing okay. How are you?
I'm good. I'm really good.
I can't believe we've made it this far.
I know.
All this work and all these years of toil and trouble, and we've made it all the way to episode 003.
Right. We did it, man. This is like a I'm going to mark this in the calendar. Not episode 1, episode 3.
Episode Trace.
00 Trace.
Yes, that one. So, hey, story time. Do you have any stories?
I do. I have a couple things.
Yeah, please.
So a couple. One, you know what I started rewatching today?
Ooh, what did you start rewatching?
George A. Romero's Night of the Living Dead.
The original?
The original, man.
In black and white?
In black and white.
Oh, I love it.
So
I love
good.
That movie.
I love it. It's been a while since I've seen it, but I just love that the zombies in it don't look necessarily like zombies. I love that they are smarter. It's such a,
Wait, are they smarter?
Yeah, they, like, when the car comes up, they smash out the headlights because they're distracting them. And
that's pretty smart.
It's pretty smart. Yeah. But, it's so good.
That's awesome. Because we just watched that Halloween last year. That was our Halloween movie.
Yes.
And it was a wonderful. I may have mentioned it. I don't know if I mentioned it on the podcast, but last Halloween, that was our movie. We went to a little Halloween party, and after we got home, we went ahead and watched, of course, Trick or Treat.
Yes. Beautiful.
But then after that, we watched Night of the Living Dead. I just put it on randomly, and it was a joy. It was a joy to watch as our final movie of Halloween and the whole Halloween season, you know?
Oh, that's awesome. What a perfect way to end it, man.
Yeah.
Well,
so you'll have to please let me know. Like, we'll talk after you watch it and or rewatch it, and I want to hear your thoughts.
Well, and that was what I was going to say too, and this is for I want to pick your brain, and anyone that's listening, if they want to write in, because I'm just curious. Right now, my kiddo wants to get into horror. She keeps talking about it. She's like, I want a shirt.
Really?
I want to watch something. I want a toy of. I want your It toys. I want all this. All this stuff. And
how old is she?
She's 11, and so. But here's the kicker. So she still gets a little nervous at night sometimes. My thought was, while watching this, I'm wondering, is this a good one that we could still? I mean, it's a horror movie, but it's not too. Just going through it, there's nothing too scary. But I don't know, man. I'm really thinking about it. I'm like, is this a good one to start her with? Do we ease into it? I don't know.
I am going to say probably not.
That's what I'm thinking too.
Because the first time I saw it, I was a teenager, and it still creeped the heck out of me.
Fair enough.
I mean, I don't know if I've told you this, but the first time I saw Night of the Living Dead, it was after school. I was at home. I put it on, and I didn't have any lights on in the house, but it was afternoon, so it was still bright outside. By the time the movie ended, it was dark outside, it was dark inside, and I wasn't scared, but it absolutely creeped me out.
Fair enough.
So I'm not sure. I can tell you, obviously, the movie that started me down the path, and I think I mentioned it in the first episode. Actually, no, I'm not going to say that. It's funny you mentioned that, because last night I was on Reddit, and I was on the horror subreddit, and somebody actually asked about their 9-year-old kid.
Oh, funny. Okay.
And their kid, same exact thing that you just said, they want to get into horror. And what movie should they show them? Because they don't want their kids to have nightmares at night. So I chimed in with my Poltergeist, but I threw out, and I think you've seen this.
Hmm.
The more recent Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark.
Yes, we have it actually. I
Has
have
she
it.
seen that?
She has not. That might be a good
So
one.
yeah, there's some very horrific imagery in that, but it's the book was pushed towards young
Right.
people, horror that they can handle.
And we've read some. We have the books, and so
Okay.
we've read some of those, or quite a few of the stories together. So it's not a bad idea.
Yeah, maybe if you actually find the stories that are adapted in the movie
Hmm.
and then read those with her and then maybe show her the movie.
Yeah, that's not a bad
But
idea.
definitely, I would say, as with any horror movie that you're introducing to young children, watch it first.
Right. Yeah.
You're the only one who knows what is going to be nightmare inducing for her.
Hmm.
I mean, when I was a kid, Poltergeist was pretty scary, and I was okay.
Right.
And
Right.
there's some pretty crazy imagery in that when if you're growing up in the 80s.
Yeah.
So,
All right. That's good advice. And like I said, it just now kind of came to me, or just earlier today. I haven't even talked to her mom about it, so
oh, there
she
you go.
might be
Yeah.
like, no,
No.
no. But I figured, hey, it's a good talking point. Something I can ask.
Absolutely. And yeah, if anybody out there has any ideas, feel free. Funwithhorrorpodcast@gmail.com.
Yes, please.
Drop us a line. Let us know if you have any movies that you would suggest young children who want to get into horror want to start with. Please send them in.
Yeah.
Now I'm brainstorming. I'm still thinking of other movies. Goosebumps is not exactly horror,
Right, and
but
she's
it
seen
could be.
those.
She
She's seen the movies, yeah, with Jack
Okay,
Black. So, and she liked
so that's
those.
good. Yeah, I mean that's the obvious starting place is movies that are not horror
Right.
but have kind of some tropes from horror movies. Uh, Coraline.
She loves Coraline.
There you go,
Yeah.
man.
So that's
So
so
she's
yeah, she likes these. I just don't know what, like I said, the next logical step when it comes to horror.
Or, I mean, another good logical step is the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I think she's ready.
Oh my gosh. You know what's funny? When we watched that, because you and I watched it one night.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that, yeah. Anyway, there's a whole thing. But that movie, there was I guess this isn't a spoiler or anything, but when the door opens,
Yeah.
everyone knows that scene if they've seen it.
Yeah,
That
it's the
actually,
famous shot of the door opening with Leatherface.
right. That genuinely scared me. And I was, I mean, this was when I was in LA. I was an adult, but I mean, that door opened, I panicked. Like, it was such a frightening shot.
So what you're saying is it's perfect for
It's
your
perfect.
11-year-old daughter.
Yeah, yeah. I can't wait to have her sleep in our room every night forever. That'll be great.
Well, I for one can't wait to hear what she actually does start with. So,
Yeah,
keep us informed about that. That'll be fun to revisit in a future episode.
yeah, for sure. I will. Anyway, what about
But
you, man? What was your week like? What's
um,
your
my week was good and uneventful. But I think I think I'm ready to jump into our movie of the week.
Oh, all right, let's do it.
Now it begins. Deep in the Appalachian Mountains, they say that an act of evil shall never go unpunished. There they tell of a creature who shall come from nowhere, born from the blood of the innocent, to hunt the guilty, and they call it Pumpkinhead.
So, Scotty,
Hi,
hi. I picked the movie this week,
you did, and you picked.
1989's Pumpkinhead.
Now let's just jump in and say it was actually supposed to release in 1988.
Oh, was it supposed to release then? Oh.
It was supposed to release in October of '88 as a prime Halloween movie, but their studio, I believe it was DEG at the time, was having a bunch of issues, so they got pushed to the next year.
Huh. Interesting. That's
Yeah.
happening. That's happening right now with the new Halloween movies. Same
Yeah,
thing?
well, everything's getting pushed though, right?
I know, yeah. I know.
But yeah.
So, I know you've seen it. I know I haven't, but since I picked it, I would love to hear your thoughts, man.
Well, before I get into my thought, yeah, so since I have seen it
Yes.
and I love this movie, I'll just briefly say that I watched this movie back in around 89, 90.
Mhm.
I probably saw some photos from Fangoria magazine or
Nice,
something.
Yeah.
And of course, I saw it on home video. It might have been one of the cable channels, but I believe I rented it on VHS.
Oh, nice.
And I loved it. I absolutely loved it. But that's where the weirdness comes in, because as much as I loved it, I only saw it that one time, and I didn't see it again until about 3 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And it was one of my October Halloween movies that I watched that Halloween, and it was just, I loved it. I revisited it and it held up. And then last year I bought the Scream Factory Blu-ray because Scream Factory does such an amazing job with these things.
Yeah.
Like, it baffles my mind how great a job they do on getting these people back together to do all these extras for these movies that weren't huge, but
Mhm.
are maybe kind of loved in the horror community and stuff. You know, it's nuts.
That's so cool.
So that said, I love Pumpkinhead. And even though I know we're supposed to start with me, I'm way more curious to hear, since it was your first time seeing it,
Mhm.
I do want you to start, and I want to hear what you thought of Pumpkinhead.
Okay. Are you sure? You're all right
I'm
with it?
absolutely positive. I'm excited.
Okay.
I am so hyped to hear your thoughts.
Well, first, let me say this. So, usually when we do these, usually the last two, I've watched the movie by myself at home. This was one where my wife was there, and he said, "Do you want to start with me?" She said, "Yeah." So we started it, and then we had something to go to. So I took a break, and then the next day I was like, "All right, I'm gonna probably finish that." And she's like, "Well, I would like to finish it though. I'm into it." I was like, "Okay, perfect." So we'll wait. But eventually we did watch it, and I got to tell you, man, you ready for this?
I'm so ready.
I loved it.
Yay!
I did. It was so fun. It has. Well, let me jump into it. I'll just jump in with
please.
all my notes here. So the first thing I thought, the first scene I will say was it was perfect. You have again, for all those listening right now, we are going to spoil Pumpkinhead.
Thank you.
Just-
Yes, thank you
yes.
for reminding everybody.
Yep.
Yes, we do spoil movie of the week.
Yes.
And we will probably remind you of that every single week
Yes.
before we start going in. So, this
Cool.
is your last warning. If you have not seen the 1989 classic Pumpkinhead, maybe watch it before listening further. But go ahead, Andrew. Please.
Perfect. Well, the intro, okay, so opens with this family sitting in their house, and a guy runs up to their door and is banging on it like crazy, saying there's something after him. And they're not letting him in. And I'm like, this is fantastic. Like, what did this guy do? Obviously, something's going on. And just to see then, it kind of cuts a little bit, or I'll cut forward, where you see young Ed. I think he's Eddie,
Yeah.
actually, as a kid.
Yeah.
But Eddie, our main character, looks out the window. We see this creature just beating up this guy. And then it cuts to, what? I can't remember, 20 years later, 30 years later, something like that. But I
I
was
think
like,
it's 30.
I think it's 30, yeah. But what a great introduction. We just see this guy begging for help. pleading,
Yeah.
and no one's doing a darn thing about it. And I was hooked. I was like, I'm in. I don't know what this is, but I'm in.
Yeah. And another thing I'll say about the intro,
Yeah.
some movies I don't like when they show the creature too early, but this is an exception. We don't see Pumpkinhead again for like the first 45 minutes of the movie.
Right, yeah.
And so I'm glad that we got a glimpse of him at the beginning because in my opinion, Pumpkinhead is one of the greatest special effects creatures ever created for horror movies. And I don't know if you feel the same.
I 100% feel the same. That's part of my notes. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. He's such a well-designed creature, and at this point, I would almost call him, at least in the horror genre, iconic.
For sure. Well, as someone that has not seen it before, after watching this, I 100% agree.
Awesome.
100%.
Yeah.
Well,
So yeah, we get to see him, and when I was rewatching it this week, it made me so happy. I had forgotten about the intro, even after watching it a couple years ago. My brain, you know how I am.
I get you.
I forget things. So yeah, I was so happy to see Pumpkinhead at the beginning. But yeah, now go ahead.
Well, and I like too that we just, like you said, I mean, we get a glimpse. So he's from a distance. We see him, quite a ways away, but it's enough to pique an interest for sure.
Yeah.
And then one thing too, speaking of his design, so this is what I read, was Stan Winston, who is the director.
Yes.
You might know this. Was known for special effects. That was like what he did. This was his directorial debut.
His very first.
Yeah, so I thought that was cool to have the special effects guy. I mean, because it shows, he obviously puts a lot of love into his creations because that,
absolutely,
like you said, it's one of the coolest monsters I've ever seen in movies. Hands
and that's
down.
something as a teenager I wasn't able to appreciate. I didn't really. I heard the name Stan Winston, but I don't think I knew that he directed Pumpkinhead. But a couple years ago, when I finally rewatched it, I saw his name as the director. I was like, oh, look at that.
He did great, man. I loved it. I thought, what a way to start out your directorial
absolutely.
debut, I should say. But a couple things though one thing I really loved about this movie as well, besides the creature, of course, was the colors. There are moments where it goes from this deep blue, and I mean everything is pretty deep blue, to this bright orange. And the contrast between the two scenes, and it does it a few times, is so awesome. Like just going, and even like this could all be in my head, but hey, I'm throwing it out there. But I think just having that, those contrasting colors, it even went with the music at the beginning, which was like this kind of angelic voices singing, and then it would go to these horns, like this deep horn that would break it apart, and then we get the angels again, and then it would be this.
Yeah.
And so I loved all the contrast in this movie with so many different things. But that bright orange, especially when we first meet the witch, or the whatever she is.
Haggis.
Haggis, thank you. The inside of her house, I guess, was fantastic. It gave me all... Set. Yeah, it was so good. And the lighting, everything. It set up it made me really excited for Halloween. Like it put me in the mood where I just went, okay, we're close now. We're in August. But jumping back, sorry, I'm moving ahead.
Yeah.
I'm just excited. No. I loved the dynamic. Well, first of all, we get Lance Henrikson, who's great. I did not know he was the main character in this.
You didn't?
I did not.
So wait, real quick, what did you know about the movie before you saw it?
The only thing I remember seeing was in Search of Darkness, just seeing the creature, just seeing Pumpkinhead. Okay. I know they talked about it, obviously, that's what the movie is, but I just remember seeing that creature and writing it down immediately as one I wanted to see. That's all I remember.
Yeah.
I just remember the creature. So I did not know really the story. or who was in it. But
Nice.
yeah,
I love that.
it was so good. But yeah, Lance Henriksen, I love. And I remember last week I mentioned too. I said the creature kind of reminded me of a mixture of Sam from Trick or Treat mixed with Alien, which now makes me laugh that I mentioned Alien with Lance Henriksen being in it.
I'll get to that.
Okay, okay, not intended last time because, like I said, I did not know he was in it. I love the relationship with him and his son. I thought both were really great and believable.
Yeah.
Like when he gives him the necklace the son gives the dad a necklace. I thought it just felt real. Like it didn't feel like we need to show that they love each other for a horror movie because something bad's gonna happen. It felt more just natural. And so when something bad did happen, I was like, oh crap, that's horrible. I did not know where this was going.
And holy crap, that kid was so cute.
He was. What a cutie patootie. Yeah.
He reminded me of Jonathan
Lipnicki. I thought the same thing, man.
Yeah.
Yep. In fact, I was like, no, this is an 89. That can't be him. But I really did think it was him for a second.
Oh, I definitely looked him up to see if I'd seen him in something else because looking like Jonathan Lipnicki or not, I thought I had to have seen him in something else. But no, I hadn't.
Yeah.
That was the only movie I've ever seen him in.
He was great, though. I thought he was really good. Yeah, I thought he played the part.
Yeah, he was super cute.
Yeah, he was super cute. Jumping into it, so obviously we see him die, the kid, which I, again, was not expecting. I did...
But we don't see him die. They did a good job of not making that too gruesome or anything.
You're right. They did.
You know, that's another thing I appreciated because you realize what's about to happen before it happens. And you see these kids are on motorcycles and they come out of nowhere and the kid's running after his dog, which always makes me cringe in movies. I hate to see dogs in horror movies because I wonder if the dog's going to bite it.
Right, yeah.
But no, it's fine. It was just the kid.
Priorities.
The dog was fine. Phew. But yeah, so they're on their motorcycles and they come over a hill and then there's like some little editing and then the next thing the kid's on the ground.
Yeah, you're right. Which, yeah, not graphic and no blood or anything, really. I think it was just, they did it very well. You're right. I do love that we get I do love that we get our stereotypical bad guy in his leather jacket.
Yeah.
I thought that was great. I was like, yes, the 80s, man, were awesome.
Which is something else I'll mention later.
Oh, good. Okay, yeah. I love that. I think another... So I guess, he gets his son who's died. He goes to see this witch and he talks to that kid. That kid.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I can't think of his character's name. Shoot. He was a treat. I don't even know what to say.
It was Bunt. His name was Bunt. Yeah.
Yes. He was like...
And again, there were a few actors. There's some nice little, not cameos, but early roles by some actors. But there was a couple actors, including the little kid. And then the actor who played Bunt, again, it was too early, but man, he totally reminded me of, I'll come back to it.
Okay.
Because I can't think of his name.
No, I agree. He did look really familiar. He really did.
Evan Peters.
Oh, okay.
He reminded me of Evan Peters from X-Men and American Horror Story.
Yep, I could see that for sure.
But obviously, it's not him. It's Brian Bremer is the actor's name.
Right on. And he was great. I like that character. That character that was just kind of super creepy when we first... Well, we first see him, I guess, with the little boy. But then the second time was when he says, I'll take you to the witch or whatever. Yeah. And the way he does it, he's just kind of a creep. But they go see the witch. The witch tells him, Ed, our main character, to leave the boy and go and dig something up from a cemetery. Which, here's my next thing I wrote down is that shot of him at the cemetery with the shovel was perfect.
Yeah.
I loved it. That was a
Once
poster.
again, a fantastic set.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And did you get when watching this, my first thought when I kind of got into the story, what was happening, I really got Pet Sematary vibes.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's almost like reverse Pet Cemetery.
Right. Yep. Exactly.
Instead of burying somebody in the burial grounds, they're digging somebody up from the burial grounds.
Yep. But I just had that style, that feel, which is not a bad thing.
No.
Anyway, Pumpkinhead comes to life, which was awesome, and that's when we first see him in all of his glory. And he just, like you said, he's perfect. Like that. I have nothing bad to say about his design.
No, not at all.
It's awesome. It's just awesome. I will say though, two of my favorite, like two of the best deaths in this movie. There's
I know
a
we're
few
gonna
of
say
them.
the same one.
Are we? Okay.
Yeah. Oh, of course.
So one of them was horrifying.
We'll go with number one. What was the death that had the biggest impact on you?
When he drops the girl from the tree. That was mine.
Oh no, that's not mine.
Really?
I don't think it's the girl from the tree. No.
Oh, because he takes her up really high, and it's like one of our final girls. So I was like, she might live, and then he drops her, and they just
That was
watch.
number one for you?
It was, yeah, yep.
Number one for me was the girl who was just losing her mind, and she runs out, and all of a sudden his big pumpkin head hand reaches down from the roof and pulls her up. And then that's not just it. Like, you see her just being carried over the top of the edge of the roof.
Yes.
And then there's like this amazing scene where Pumpkinhead with his fingernail carves a cross into her forehead.
Yeah.
And the actress actually said in an interview that that was the one thing she had a problem with. She still did it, but I guess she was pretty religious, and the fact that Pumpkinhead was carving a cross into her forehead was pretty sacrilegious.
Huh.
But then even that's not the end, because then there's that amazing scene where they're inside the cabin, and then Pumpkinhead pushes her face up against the glass.
My next
and he's
one.
just like pushing her face against the glass.
Yep.
Before he pulls her head back and then crashes her through the window.
Yep. That was my next one.
I mean, that's like, it's like a 3-tier death scene. It was amazing. Pick her up, carve the cross, push her through the window.
Well, and not only, he doesn't even just push her, like you said, I mean, he like wipes her face across the window like he's cleaning it, and they're all inside just watching in horror, and then he shoves her head through the glass, and you're just like, whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I thought it was very effective.
For sure. Yeah. And then I like too that our main guy, Ed, had this special bond with Pumpkinhead, since it was sort of his blood that went into creating it. So I saw that ending coming when he first goes out there. So I made a mistake. We need to save these kids. Like, I was like, oh, he's gonna die. Because he had some of those feelings
already. That's when you saw it?
Well,
because I mean, it didn't really hit me until, and I'm thinking back here, it didn't hit me until Pumpkinhead, when Ed gets stabbed by the pitchfork, and then Pumpkinhead feels it too.
Well, you're right. Yes, it wasn't until I first saw that they were connected, like through some sort of emotional or physical whatever. That's when at the same
time you like Ed, so you don't want that to happen. You're hoping that there's another way around it, but no. At the end, he has to die for Pumpkinhead to die.
But that last shot is awesome, with the witch burying the new Pumpkinhead.
Yeah, this
so
deformed body that is unrecognizable, and she's burying it in the graveyard, and the last shot is the camera zooming in, and you see the necklace that the kid gave Ed.
Yep, so it's Ed.
Ed is going to be the next Pumpkinhead, and there were a couple sequels that I have not seen, and I don't know that I ever will.
Yeah. Yep, I looked him
I've
up
not
too.
heard good things.
Yeah. Although Lance Henriksen's back for like 2 of them.
Okay. I'll have to look into that because I'm wondering if it's just flashbacks or something.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know, but I just saw his name
Because
pop
they might
up
have
on.
to give him credit even if they just flash back to Pumpkinhead 1. I
You're
don't know.
right. That's true.
But I've heard they're really bad. So
Yeah, it might be. Might have to wait on those. But I would say, man, overall this was a fun one. I knew it was going to be a good one. I knew it was going to be a blast.
Good.
And it was.
I'm really glad you liked it.
Yeah,
or loved it, because movies like that, it's interesting when people watch older movies, because I know I also am watching it through nostalgia tinted glasses.
Mhm.
So the fact that this was your first time, and it still had the same effect on you.
Right.
Like, it didn't feel too dated so that you couldn't enjoy it.
And it didn't. It really, like I said, I think one thing I love is natural effects. You know what I mean? Like CGI is great and it's super
practical.
Practical. Thank you. That's the word I'm looking for. Practical effects. So I've always been in love with that. So having this as all practical effects was perfect. That was what I wanted, and it was exactly what I got. So I enjoyed it because I love practical effects.
Nice.
Yeah. What are your? So I gave my spiel, man. Now I know you have notes. I know you love it, but I want to hear thoughts.
Yeah. So, when I rewatched it this week, I'm watching it differently than you. I'm rewatching it to see how well the movie holds up and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I still love the movie. So no matter what criticisms I can come up with, it's a movie that I own and I'm very happy to own, and I'll watch it anytime.
Mm-hmm.
There's some very interesting actors in the movie. I mean, obviously Lance Henriksen is the star.
Right.
But did you by any chance notice that one of the little Wallace kids was Mayim Bialik?
I did not.
Blossom herself?
Really?
Yeah. In fact, my girlfriend walked by as I was watching the scene where the Wallace kids show up at the general store.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, "Is that Mayim?" And I was like, "Yes, it is."
Wow.
And then pretty much the main young guy, Chris, is played by Jeff East, who played young Clark Kent in Superman the movie.
Oh, crazy.
And yeah, in the extras, one of the other actresses even mentions that, yeah, she got to act alongside Superman.
That's awesome. That's super cool.
And then you've seen Back to the Future, of course.
Of course.
So Papa Wallace, Daddy Wallace,
Uh-huh.
is in Back to the Future. He plays the bum near the end of Back to the Future who's on the park bench.
That's awesome. Whoa.
Yeah.
Man,
So lots of really cool acting things in there. So the one thing I wondered, because you definitely have your 80s stereotypes
Mm-hmm.
and such, but when the guy was being such an a-hole,
Yeah.
The kid you mentioned,
Yeah.
I was wondering, would the movie have been a little bit more interesting if these young kids,
Mm-hmm.
were not bad people at all? They just had a bad accident,
Oh,
and
good point.
because they freaked out over it and disappeared, didn't know what to do. I mean, heck, they just killed this kid.
Yeah.
And so they freak out, and it makes Ed mad. It might have made Ed more of a villain, though, which I also didn't want.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think in the end, the movie is perfect as it is.
Right.
But that was a thought in my head. Like, what kind of morality tale would you be telling if the kids weren't bad? They just had a bad accident.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I mean, they do try and have some redemption to the a-hole.
Mm-hmm.
But that seemed a little bit tacked on.
Well, and he pushed it really far. I mean, he essentially kidnapped all of them at one point.
Yeah, and held them hostage.
And held
He
them
held
hostage,
two of them
yeah.
hostage in a room.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was a thought I had. But again, as I watched the movie, I was like, it's fine. It's perfect the way it is.
Yeah.
Because because my whole thing with horror movies and, slashers and movies like this is I really appreciate it when you don't want any of the characters to die.
Yes. Yeah.
And the thing with a lot of 80s movies is that you're looking forward to seeing these kids die. It's more how they die is what you're waiting to see.
Right.
Yeah, I just think, that's another conversation for another day, but it's how horror movies have kind of changed over the years.
Yeah.
You watch Friday the 13th movie and you're looking forward to the different techniques that Jason uses to kill each kid.
Yeah.
And there's not many of them that you actually care for.
Yeah.
Another thing I'll mention, and this is not about Pumpkinhead so much, but now you understand. You've seen Alien Resurrection, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
So I want you to look up some pictures because the alien human hybrid in that movie,
Let me look.
the alien child, I guess. Every time when I saw that movie, every time I watch it, I go, this creature looks like Pumpkinhead. And nobody ever really understood what I was saying because not a lot of people had seen Pumpkinhead.
Oh,
But-
whoa.
Yeah, see?
Yeah.
You're looking at a picture right now.
Yep, I am. Whoa.
And there you have it.
That's funny.
And what was interesting, I'm pretty sure, I'll have to look this up. I know listeners might want to correct me, but I'm kind of sure that Stan Winston did the special effects for Alien Resurrection as well. And I only say that because one of the guys being interviewed on the Blu-ray actually had the alien child thing model behind him.
Oh, crazy.
And I was just sitting there watching this documentary thinking, that's, you may not want to show that off.
Yeah.
Because it makes it look even more like you just kind of ripped off Pumpkinhead to create this alien creature.
Yep.
So, again, yeah, it's more of a criticism of Alien Resurrection, I guess, which I still like as a movie, but always thought it looked like Pumpkinhead.
Yeah, totally. That is funny, man. Good call.
And that's about it. That's about it for my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I love the movie. I recommend it to anybody who hasn't seen it that is interested in seeing a good 80s creature feature.
For sure.
I like the reason the movie was made. Basically, these two guys who ended up, I think, producing or writing the movie,
Mm-hmm.
Gary Girani and Mark Patrick Carducci. So they were old-time creature feature fans,
Sweet.
and they wanted to create their own creature for movies, and they created this Pumpkinhead creature.
That's
He wasn't called
awesome.
Pumpkinhead at the time, and so it was really a joy to watch one of them talking about how much of a blessing it was to have his creature that he created with his friend living on in movie history
That's
and
so
becoming
cool.
such a cult favorite movie creature.
That's awesome.
yeah.
That's really cool.
And I guess we can touch on the music real quick. The music is good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm liking it more the more I listen to it. I actually bought the special edition CD that was released not too long ago.
Oh, cool.
I missed out on the vinyl, but yeah, it goes from, like you said, it goes from horns to basic horror movie monster music,
Mm-hmm.
but then to like some backwoods harmonica,
You're right. Yeah, you're right. Yep. Which makes
Which
sense
was-
for the film.
Yeah. Oh, it makes complete sense and it fits.
Yeah.
So Richard Stone is the composer, and he hasn't done many other horror movies, but he did a good job on this one.
Yeah.
what else? I'll tell you some trivia real quick.
Ooh, yes, please. I love trivia.
So, when the dead boy sits up, so Lance
Yep.
Henriksen does a great interview on the Blu-ray, and he mentioned that when he was reading the script, the moment where his dead son sits up in the truck
Mm-hmm.
and says, "What are you doing, Dad?"
Yeah.
That is what made Lance want to do the movie.
Really?
That one single scene.
Whoa.
He said it just creeped him out to no end.
That's awesome.
Also,
That scene
I'm
was
not
great.
sure. Oh yeah, it's such a great scene, right?
Yeah, it really is.
Also, Lance Henriksen had fake teeth made for the movie.
Really?
Yeah. If you watch, he wanted, because of where they live and everything,
Mm-hmm.
he wanted to not have perfect teeth. He wanted some crooked teeth.
Funny.
So if you look, he's got some like crooked slightly buck teeth.
Funny. I did
So
not even catch that.
It was something he requested, um, and then the only other thing I'll mention, I think, is just uh, the set design. We've talked about how good it is, but I really appreciate like a couple of the little set design Easter eggs. There's a little sign on the general store that I didn't notice until I watched the extra features, and one
Mm-hmm.
of the set designers mentioned it. But there's a sign that says "Leaving Hope," and that was a little Easter egg to show that this was the end of Hope in the movie, and the rest of the movie is going to go downhill as far as Hope is concerned.
That's cool. That's awesome.
So yeah, that's about all I have to say. I just love the movie. I'm so glad that you picked it.
Thanks, man. I know. I'm. This one was fun. I knew it was gonna be a good time. And your reaction last week just kind of I knew you enjoyed it, so I'm excited. It was fun. This was like
Yeah.
really just a good week to do this. It felt.
I hope one of these episodes I'm going to be able to repay that to you by picking a movie that you absolutely love
That would be awesome.
that I haven't seen. So that'll be fun. I don't know if it'll happen, but who knows?
Yeah,
You never know.
I know. Well, we got. I mean, like we said, there's 10 billion horror movies out there. We can do this for as long as we want, my man.
I think it's 999 million
Oh, is that what it is? Okay.
and one.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that one.
That one. Oh yeah.
Pumpkinhead 4.
That one.
Forgot that
Oh.
one.
Ugh. Maybe we'll do Pumpkinhead sequels in the future.
Oh.
I mean, I'm sure we will do some bad movies at some point.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
Okay, so all right, so we're almost done,
Mm-hmm.
which means it's time for us to pick next week's movie.
Dude, I'm so excited. Like you said last week, you were excited to hear me say what I want to watch. I'm so excited.
That's
Like-
because you and I are the same person.
What?
We have the same brain.
We
So I
do.
guarantee I'm going to get excited every time you pick a movie, and you're going to get excited every time I pick a movie, which means our listening audience is going to get excited every week because they don't ever know what it's going to be. Except, yeah, they're not going to know.
Yes.
So I'll be honest, though.
Yeah.
I have gone back and forth.
Ooh.
I have two choices in my head,
Okay. All right.
and I keep going back and forth on both of them.
Dude.
But the funny thing is that this week is, in a way, our first request by somebody outside the podcast.
Ah, okay.
And they're both requests. Both of the movies in my head are both requests from somebody else. So I think we're going to get to both of them.
Okay. All right. I don't know these. I'm excited.
Yeah, I
Man.
don't. I'm gonna go with my gut here
Ooh.
because we can get to the other one next.
Okay.
So my pick for this next week is a more recent movie,
Okay.
and it is called The Empty Man.
The Empty Man. I don't know this movie.
So this is a movie. I think it's an indie horror film,
Okay.
and I think it came out last year. And I saw the name, I saw the poster. It's like, it's a basic poster. It's black with the words "Empty Man," and one of the letters extends in a line down the poster.
Okay.
Um, and I just more recently have been hearing a very good word of mouth about
Yes.
it. There is my favorite movie reviewer on YouTube. His name is Chris Stuckman.
Oh yeah, he's great.
Big props to Chris Stuckman. I think he's what made me a long time ago want to do a podcast like this, because
Oh really?
no matter how bad a movie might be, he's had a tendency in the past to always judge movies fairly and
Mm-hmm.
even talk about what the good parts of a movie, even if the movie's not the best.
Right.
And that's what I love, because I love talking about what I love about a movie more than what I didn't like.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
And that may not get as many views or clicks or what have you, but that's fine with me, because when somebody starts telling me that they don't like a movie, I kind of tune out. But when they tell
Mm-hmm.
me that they love a movie or really liked it, I want to know why.
Yeah.
And I want to see that movie. Although, I mean, I'm just blabbing here, but I'll be honest, when somebody says they hate a movie and it's the worst movie ever, I kind of want to see it then too. But anyway, Stuckman has been championing The Empty Man very recently, to the point where I've really wanted to watch it, and I don't really know much at all about the movie.
I don't either.
So I'm going to go in pretty blind. And, a friend of mine recently also watched it, and he's been constantly asking me, have you seen The Empty Man? Have you seen The Empty Man?
Oh wow.
Have you seen The Empty Man? So I'm going to finally watch it so that I can point him to the podcast and say, hey, I saw The Empty Man.
I'm excited. This will be really fun. You and I both going in blind. This is
Yeah.
going to be really fun. Oh,
It's going to be interesting.
I'm excited, man. I'm not looking anything up. I'll except to rent it. I'll rent it and that's it.
Like where we can watch it.
Right, yeah. Oh, this is
All right.
exciting. Yay, thanks. This is perfect.
So everybody out there, if you're listening, hopefully you're still listening. Crickets. So watch The Empty Man this week. And next week we will be talking about it and reviewing it. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the movie. If you've seen it, drop a line. We're on Spotify, we're on Instagram, we're on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
We have our email. Everything is Fun with Horror. So
Absolutely.
find us. The email address, once again, funwithhorrorpodcast@gmail.com. Please feel free to email us and say hi. And yeah.
We'd love to just chat with you too. Just get
Yep.
to know, if
For
you're
sure.
listening, we'd love to get to know you.
So anyway,
Yeah.
I think that about does it for this week. Once again, Andrew, thank you so much for picking Pumpkinhead last week. It was a joy to rewatch.
It was. That was fun. Thank you for rewatching it.
Oh,
So that we could
my
do this.
pleasure. And thank you, everybody, for listening.
Yes.
We love each and every one of you. Well, maybe except for that guy.
Yeah, not that guy, but the rest of you, we
really
adore.
like you.
Yep. You're almost loved. You're right there.
Oh, stop.
Stop it.
All right, Andrew. So I will talk to you next week, buddy.
Yes, we will talk about The Empty Man.
The Empty Man. All right.
Yay.
Love you, pal.
Love you, man. Love you, everybody.
You get away from that window and you get to bed.